Many years ago, when I was a young Christian, I used to visit bookshops, particularly on Saturdays, and I used to look for academic works that would help me understand the Christian faith, the truths of the Bible. But there was always one book which I saw at the corner of my eye, which I really didn't want to look at, I didn't want to read, and I never bought it at that time. It's this book, The Orthodox Corruption of Scripture, the effect of early Christological controversies on the text of the New Testament, by Professor Bart Erhman. Now, obviously, I did buy this book, and I have since read it, and I do recommend it, but it does contain some very disturbing material, particularly if you're a conservative Christian, as I was. But basically, different scribes, different times, all trying to correct the Bible to make sure it conforms with their beliefs. Okay, so that's particularly interesting. Now, the example that I wanted to share with you is a text found in the King James Version, or in the New King James Version. This is my copy of the New King James, very swanky cover there, and quite a well-known verse in 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 16. It reads in the King James and the New King James Version, exactly the same in both. Great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifest in the flesh, justified in the Spirit, seen by angels, preached among the Gentiles, believed on in the world, received up in glory. So that's 3:16 in the first letter of Timothy. The first sentence there, God was manifest in the flesh. Now, if you go to Speaker's Corner, as I do occasionally, you will see Christians, missionaries, holding up banners saying just that. God was manifest in the flesh. And this proves, obviously, the Apostle Paul thought that, God had become a man. So it's quite serious. So what does Bart Erhman say about this? Is this an example of corruption? Is this a verse that was inserted later by Christian scribes? Well, he says on page 78 of his book that the reading theos cannot be original is shown both by the character of the manuscript attestation. The change to the manuscript must have been made fairly early, at least during the 3rd century, given its widespread attestation from the 4th century onwards. It can therefore best be explained as an anti-adoptionistic corruption that stresses the deity of Christ. So he's basically saying there that it wasn't there in the early manuscripts. It was added several centuries after Christ to emphasize the deity of Jesus. And that's a very important doctrine for some people in the early church. Not all Christians, of course, believe that Jesus was divine at all.